Good morning, well, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you're watching this from. I'm actually hail from the east of England. So it's morning here now, and I've got 30 minutes before I start work. And I wanted to talk about I've got so many things to talk about, but I'm going to be talking about child to parent abuse today. I'm going to read my notes so I can stay on track. And yes, so let's get going. So it's the hidden crisis at home. I want to start with a story, not a dramatic one, not the kind you see on the news. Just a kitchen, her mum standing by the kettle. It's 6:30 in the morning. She's already tense, already braced, because in 10 minutes her son will wake up. And she doesn't know what version of him she'll get today. The affectionate, funny little boy she loves, or the child who might scream, throw something, or lash out. And here's the hardest part. She loves him with everything she has. But she's scared of him. Both things are true at the same time. This is the hidden crisis we're seeing more and more. Child-to-parent abuse. Some of you already know one part of my job is registering victims of domestic abuse. And in the domestic support world, referrals like this are no longer surprising. They arrive weekly, sometimes daily. And it's tempting to look for a single cause, but there isn't one. It's a tangle of stress, unmet needs, and modern pressures. On the one side, we have the no boundaries spoilt child narrative, inconsistent routines, blurry limits, burnt out parents. All of that can lead to kids who can't handle frustration, who explode when they don't get their way. But on the other side, and just as often, we have children with ADHD, autism, sensory issues, trauma histories, or serious emotional regulation challenges. These kids aren't abusive in the intentional sense. They're overwhelmed. When their system overloads, their behavior becomes language of stress. And then, sitting over everything, we've got the pressure cooker. Money worries, time pressure, isolation, screens, school, anxiety, and parents who are running on fumes. This mix is producing a child in child-to-parent violence and aggression that families never expected to face. But the statistics aren't the heart of this. The real story is the emotional collision happening inside the home. Parents are hardwired to protect their children. From birth, every instinct says love them, keep them safe, provide for them. So when that child grows and the behavior turns aggressive or frightening, parents don't suddenly switch off into self-protection mode. They switch to guilt. They switch to self-blame. They think, I must be doing something wrong. I should be able to help them. I can't tell anyone. They'll think my parenting skills are to blame. And then imagine the emotional gymnastics, tenderness and fear at the same time. Making dinner for a child you're nervous to sit beside. Waking up in the night because you heard a noise, and not outside, but down the hall. No other form of family violence is this emotionally conflicted. Because the victim is also the protector. And the person causing harm is also the person they love most in the world. And this is why parents don't reach out early. They don't want judgment. They don't want blame. They don't want agencies assuming the worst. They worry, what if someone thinks I can't cope? What if my child is taken away? What if I make it worse? So they absorb it. They walk on eggshells. They adjust. They minimize. Until finally things escalate to a level where the family feels they have nowhere left to turn. By the time the referral arrives, the crisis didn't start yesterday. It's been building quietly, painfully, for months and sometimes years. Most cases, there are three reasons: boundary and structure difficulties, young people who haven't learned how to manage frustration or hear no, often because parents are stretched thin or trying to keep the peace. Neurodevelopmental needs, kids with ADHD, autism, sensory overload, trauma or emotional regulation issues. who express distress through behaviour and violence, not words. Family stress and lack of support, the village being the extended family concept, has gone. So when a parent is exhausted, overwhelmed and isolated, every small incident becomes a spark in a dry forest. None of this is about blame. Families don't need judgment, they need tools, they need support, they need someone to say, you're not a bad parent, you're not alone, and this can get better. Parents need help setting boundaries and holding them compassionately. They need coaching on emotional regulation for their child and themselves. They need schools, GPs, and support services that listen and respond early. And children need understanding, structure, and a safe way to express big feelings that otherwise explode. So do parents avoid reaching out because they don't want their child getting in trouble with the law? 100%. Many parents say things like, I don't want my child criminalised. They're struggling. They're not bad. If I tell someone, will the police get involved? Parents often protect the child even when they're the one being harmed. Fear social services involvement, fear that the child might be taken away, fear the stigma of, I can't cope with my own child. It's very similar to intimate partner violence dynamics. Loyalty, love, fear, and protection all tangled up into one. Parents don't want to be seen as betraying their child. They rather absorb the harm than see their child punished. Acknowledging that your child might be manipulative or controlling doesn't mean demonizing them. Children, especially from the age of 7, can spot weaknesses in the family system, divide parents, learn which behaviours get them what they want, use guilt or fear. Present one way to professionals and another way at home. This doesn't always mean malicious intent. Sometimes it's a coping strategy, a learned behaviour, on a way to regain control in a chaotic life. But dismissing all children as innocent angels who don't know what they're doing does a disservice to families. Kids can be smart, strategic, and emotionally aware, sometimes more than adults expect. Can violent media, games, films, screens play a role? There's no single answer, but here's the balanced view. Violent content desensitizes some children, particularly those already vulnerable. It can normalize aggressive responses when conflict arises. It offers unrealistic models of power, dominance, and revenge. The constant stimulation can worsen emotional regulation issues. But media alone doesn't create violence. It's more like pouring fuel on a fire that's already smouldering. For many children, especially those already dysregulated or stressed, violent media can certainly influence tone, language, and behaviour. And some children rebel because their parents put them down. This is another uncomfortable truth. Some parents shame their children, criticise constantly, belittle or undermine them, struggle with their own emotional regulation, use harsh parenting styles, learned from their own upbringing. Children who feel powerless at home sometimes fight back, verbally, emotionally, or physically. Their aggression is often a reaction to feeling wounded or invalidated, not random violence. This doesn't excuse abusive behaviour, but it does remind us that context matters. A large-scale UK-based support research has documented hundreds of cases of parents being killed by their children over a 35 period, indicating that while rare, children-to-parent homicide is not negligible. Children-to-parent abuse sits at a messy intersection of protection, fear, of criminalisation, boundary issues, emotional needs, trauma histories, manipulation and control dynamics, media influence, parental behaviour, modern pressures, neurodevelopmental challenges. The danger is oversimplifying it. The truth is far more human and far more painful. This isn't about bad parents or bad kids. It's about families under strain who need understanding, early intervention, and spaces to free from shame.